Alrighty folks, welcome to the second video. So what I'm going to disclose to you today are some really badass underground case studies on MySpace marketing. So we were previously discussing this whole concept of social herding, the idea of taking groups of people and, the building a relationship, and all that jazz. This all opens up new possibilities to us. One is the result of it are now highly responsive social networks that are more open to hear our marketing messages, what we have to say. They're more consistent, they're more responsive, they're more engaged in anything we do now. So now what that allows us to entail to do is sell high-end ticket products or services, lead generation, more qualified, warmer traffic, social joint ventures, and of course many product launches. So I'm going to explain to you guys right now the whole what is a responsible social network. Social herding is a prerequisite to having a responsible social network. In fact, to have a responsible social network means incorporating the whole idea of social herding. So really the idea of it means you're trying to create relationships amongst friends. Why is that necessary? Well, interaction sparks reaction. Very important statement to take into consideration. By continuously sending out comments and messages and bulletins, I'm not saying to solicit them, but to engage them and give them relevant content, giving them things that they can apply, giving them actionable content, continuously helping them over and over, and not just helping them over and over, but also interacting with them. Looking at people's feedback. That's always an important thing to take into consideration. It's just like email marketing, basically, because if you look at, I'm not a pro at email marketing, but what I do know is that what's the difference between a person who comes out once in a blue moon to sell you something, as opposed to the guy who continuously sends you emails, but he's mixing it up with sending products, incorporating story, and giving you relevant information that you can use and can apply to your own business. So the whole idea of interaction sparks reaction is a very key component, because you want to get a reaction, you want people to be responsive, you want people to be engaged in your content, and in order to do that, you need to build interaction with your profiles. So, of course, constant interaction means higher responsiveness, which is very important when it comes to a product launch on MySpace. So obviously we have more interested and more qualified prospects. And simply put, if we were to sell without the relationship, well, game over, right? Because that's the difference between selling people on MySpace through the traditional way and then selling it, the ready, aim, wired way. Because there's one without the relationship and there's one with the relationship. So because of that, I'm going to share you some really cool case studies now. My own experiences, my own students' experiences, and let's just get into it. So no one's ever talked about high-end ticket sales with MySpace marketing. I mean, no one's ever talked about it. And no one's ever tried it as far as I know. And so the question on your mind is probably, is it doable? Well, yeah. So let me introduce you a good buddy of mine now. His name is Ryan Dunn, age 21. He was in my coaching program back in July for MySpace marketing, and a really interesting guy. Really takes action quickly. And it's funny, if you take a look at this picture here, it's a quick income statement he gave to me. This is what is this? January, February, March, April, May, June, July. July 25th, 24th. This is right near the end of my coaching program, because it was started in July. What makes that really interesting is this guy is totally action-oriented. He took everything I taught him and he applied it. And this is the greatest case study testimony you can ever have. But in any case, he's involved in direct sales. And so what he ended up doing to get these high-end ticket sales and services he was selling was incorporating offline measures. It's not just the old contact the name and email, double opt and yada yada yada. This was getting leads, not just emails, but leads, qualified leads, and he had a funnel system incorporated to get these users to buy. And he's a great salesman as well, but just a genius overall. And so, using ready and wired strategies and things I taught him in the coaching program, he ended up doing sales in 4 to 5 figure range. Not just means that's not total income, but per sale. So we're talking like, I think he's got 3 different packages. He's got a $1,000 package, a $3,000 package, and a $15,000 package. So that's what I meant by the 4 to 5 figure range. So he's Actually, you see here he's got there's a 4,000, a 2,000. Okay, well, I'm wrong there, but basically what I'm saying is that he's selling products in thousands. That's all that needs to be said, and in a service in direct sales, which is this really cool idea of. And if you get the Ready Aim Wired program, you can check the newsletters, the Ready Aim Insider, and you can pretty much see how we did it, and it's just really cool. So this is a great example of how you can incorporate high-end ticket sales into your MySpace marketing. Obviously, mini launches are the next cool thing. Everybody's going to be familiar with this if you're in internet marketing. You must have heard of this somewhere along the way. It's all over the internet. Batter by a good friend of mine, Michelle McPherson. And Batter is an automation tool that allows MySpace users to automate the friend building process. And what made this really cool was that she was a first mover in the industry, and she used product launch formula strategies, which is from Jeff Walker's course, to pretty much do this. And what she did was she looked for starving bands that didn't need to automate their marketing at the time. A lot of these bands and artists were manually going ad. And so Michelle McPherson comes along and realizes there is a market. And the cool twist that made it the powerhouse that it was that she used MySpace artists as affiliates to further promote the brand and the product. So if it's something that you may be able to also put into your own MySpace marketing for a software or a product or a service you might have, using people on MySpace as your own affiliates, which is a really cool twist to it all. And so that's what she did, and that's what made her lists as well have a lot of artists and musicians and all that. And it was a great concept overall. And the result is obviously a very profitable launch. But what made this really powerful is that using the ideas of relationships incorporated in her marketing strategy, and in this launch phase, she was continuously contacting these band artists, giving them glimpses of how the software is run, the results of the software, and it got really buzz. And so really a great launch overall. Uses the whole concept of social herding very well. And so here's just an example of a mini launch that can be done through MySpace, because this wasn't launched in internet marketing. This was launched through MySpace initially, and just made its way, obviously, just into internet marketing just by nature. So here's another mini launch, if you want to call it that. This is actually my own. I call it the lazy dating launch, and I'll tell you why in just a sec. The whole goal behind this launch was that how fast could I take an info product, build buzz, and at this time, around this time, I have not tested this at all, so I want to see how well it could work. And so I was talking with Michelle McPherson a lot about it before I even got involved with this. And of course, because she had her own experience with doing a launch on MySpace, so I ran a couple of MySpace profiles, but I was selling a pickup product through ClickBank. It's called Guy Gets Girl. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not going to keep any secrets here, but so what I did to build a buzz was sharing what I call the industry calls secret gambits, or the gambit, and there's like tricks and things like that, basically from the field. And what the field is a place where is like a public gathering of men and women, and sharing insider videos, which means live footage of the secret gambits in action. And that got people really interested because of the simplicity of implementation. It's like it was actually it was a 10-minute video that was filmed. Excuse me, and it actually showed how the whole process worked, and people really loved it to death because it showed how simple it was to perform. So the process took 2 weeks to build the buzz. I did $10,000 in sales in a week, so it took 3 weeks' time. It was a ClickBank product, of course, and it still does continue to make sales, which is really cool and self to implement. So another case study I'm going to reveal to you is for lead generation for a real estate list. A good friend of mine started internet marketing around the same time as I did, Brandon Mudrov. He developed profiles catering to folks in New York interested in flipping houses. So he gathered with a couple of profiles, building just groups of people interested in real estate. He sent me 5,000 clicks, 575 leads at 11% conversion, EPC at 40 cents, and overall it did about $2,000. So it's not bad, but it's pretty cool, and it was automated. So just a good example of monetizing lead generation in another niche market with real estate.